cannot get this to work. I cannot. It does not even work.
This is the Mace, and it's overpowered. I mean, it must be, because that's what everyone's saying about it. It can do enough damage to insta-kill the Ender Dragon, so it must be completely broken, right? Well, to understand the new funny haha bonk Minecraft weapon, we first have to understand World War II. The year is 1944. The Axis have started to retreat, so the Allies feel like they can do a more risky plan to gain some ground in the Netherlands. It consists of two parts. The Garden drives up the highway and brings the heavy stuff like tanks. I think it's called Garden because they're connected to the ground. And that contrasts with the Market, which is going to parachute in and surprise the Axis from the other side. I think it's called Market just to piss me off. Sounds like a slam dunk, right? Well, it would have been, if the Garden had made it there in time. The bridges in the Netherlands were, funnily enough, not intended to have multiple rows of tanks on them at once, so the Garden had to go over them really slowly, one by one. So slowly that the Axis had already started attacking the Market by the time that they got there. And for that reason, and many, many more reasons, the Market was left without any heavy weapons at all because they could only bring stuff that they could jump out of a plane with. So the Axis ran them over easily, and it was a failure for the Allies. Paratroopers can be effective, but mostly as a distraction. They throw the enemy off guard because they didn't expect a fight from both sides. Operation Market Garden, very creative name by the way, was a complete failure in the war, all because the Market didn't have the heavy weapons to support them. Fast forward to 2011, Valve added a weapon to Team Fortress 2 called the Market Gardener, based on this part of the war. It's a shovel that can instantly kill most of the classes in the game, and if I leave it right there, it sounds super broken, but when you actually start using it, you see its true colors. After rocket jumping, you have to land a hit mid-air for it to do this crazy damage, which means you've got to maneuver yourself through the sky uncovered, fall directly next to the enemy gamer, and hit them right before you land for it to work. If you catch them by surprise, you can JFK. If you catch them by surprise, you can JFK them instantly, and it's amazing. If you miss, you're now standing directly next to them with nothing but a shovel. This is why it's called the Market Gardener. You should take inspiration from the actual war operation. This weapon can be really effective, but only on a distracted enemy. If you try to use it to fight an entire army at once, you'll get absolutely shit-stomped and World War II will last 8 more months. So as you can see, even though I can sit on this map and kill bots all day and make this weapon look like it's super overpowered, there is more to the story than the amount of damage it can do. I don't think it's a stretch to say that the TF2 Market Gardener directly inspired the Minecraft Mace. And I guess the Second World War also inspired it, but let's just not worry about that. This new weapon does more damage the further you fall, with no cap on it at all. It can insta-kill literally anything if you fall far enough. Once again, if I leave it right there, it sounds super broken, but actually using it reveals a different story. If you land the hit, all your fall damage is cancelled, but if you miss, you're now standing directly next to the enemy with nothing but a diamond shovel. This weapon also takes a painfully long time to deploy, which is Mojang forcing you to choose a playstyle. Either you're all in on the Mace, or not at all. On paper, a weapon that can potentially insta-kill anything and avoids all fall damage sounds completely broken, but so did the Market Gardener. I've seen so many videos where people fall from the sky limit, insta-kill a warden with no AI, then claim that the Mace is overpowered and should be nerfed. To be fair, a lot of these people are talking about the Mace on release, but that one's actually worse than the current best Mace, so if the current one isn't overpowered, then that one isn't overpowered because it's worse than... You get it, okay, you just look at this graph. But killing a no AI warden is the exact same thing as me killing those bots on TR Walkway for an hour. This is not how actual enemies work, believe it or not. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. I don't know about you, but when I fight an enemy gamer, I don't just sit there and watch them hit me. In a battle, I need to move to the correct area, aim at the correct spot, and attack at the correct time to hit them. These 3 pillars are what hold up the table of PvP combat. In some games, you can take away a pillar or two and the table stays up just fine. However, in Minecraft, and especially Mace combat, it's pretty balanced between all 3 pillars. So the metaphorical combat table falls down if any of them are removed, which means that in the fight, you want to make the enemy gamer worse than you at any of these 3 things. To mess up their aim, you want to make yourself harder to hit. Damn, what is this? This is so obvious. Why am I even saying? So whatever the enemy thinks you're gonna do the opposite. You're walking left, randomly start walking right for no reason. They jump towards you, run underneath them. Force them to flick shot you at every possible opportunity, so they're more likely to miss. If you have your own wind charge, you can counter jump right after them, so they're never above you with the damage, and when they land, they have no choice but getting hit. If you want to completely destroy any chance of them hitting you, there's this crazy new invention called the roof. And if you've really been turned into a pickle and there's nothing that you can possibly do, use the shield. A sleeper tech that I haven't seen anyone talk about is throwing a wind charge directly at the enemy gamer as they're about to hit you. This makes them deflect the wind charge instead of hitting you. It's like an actual parry in Minecraft, holy shit. The mace requires the enemy gamer to fly through the air fully exposed for an entire second and land right next to you to do damage. This is a prime opportunity to mess up their movement, because what are they gonna do about it? The crossbow with multi-shot is good for just messing with their jump. Bonus points if you use slowness arrows, just maybe be careful when you check the mail next time. Or if you have your own wind charge, you can throw one directly at the enemy gamer. You can easily hit them right when they're about to jump, or if you're a pro gamer like me, you can hit them in the air with the wind charge. Just make sure to practice. I found that I had to aim way lower than I thought for this to work. When you hit the enemy gamer multiple times on the ground, it's a lot harder for them to charge jump, so take advantage of that. Also, knockback is great if they're already close to you. Once you two are standing shoulder to shoulder, it's pretty hard for them to miss, so a knockback sword can put some distance between you two.
Jesus Christ.
Your best friend in messing up the timing is the damage tick. When you take any damage in Minecraft, it makes a tick sound, and the game adds some velocity to whichever direction you were going. So setting the enemy gamer on fire or poisoning them would make them take constant damage ticks, messing up their timing as long as they're active. The jumps will take random amounts of time to complete, so getting the correct timing before you hit the ground is just left up to a dice roll. All of these strats will give you the upper hand against the enemy gamer. It's not a prescriptive "this will work" to counter the mace strategy, but it definitely should help, because much like the Market Gardener, the mace is really good against people who don't know how to play the game. But what if you want that strategy that completely destroys the mace? What is the Natasha of Minecraft, huh? Maybe you're doing all these things and still getting shit stomped. What do you do then? If only there was some way to combine all these strategies together, it could work just on its own. If there was some way to do a lot of damage, knock back, and apply constant damage ticks at the same time, without even letting the mace get anywhere close to you, that would be ideal. It's almost like this entire section was hinting at some particular item that the entire audience already knows about by now.
Wait, what does that sound? No, Dime, stop, no, we can't use this song! No, Dime, seriously, stop. We can't use any more of that song or else we'll get copyright striked.
Anyway, if we're talking about what's overpowered here, I think that the mace is the one getting absolutely dominated with no counterplay whatsoever. And it's not surprising when we look at our metaphorical combat table. Bows can have punch too, which knocks the enemy gamer several miles backwards with a single hit. Flame lights them on fire for approximately 7 hours and can easily be reset with just another arrow. And the bow is a ranged weapon, so the gamer can't even get anywhere close. You also have infinite power 5 arrows to shoot forever. And since the mace user must fly through the air uncovered to do damage, they also happen to be incredibly easy to hit with a bow.
Or perhaps I should mention, something I just found out seconds ago, is the slow falling arrow, which literally just turns off the mace for 30 seconds. You hit them with a slow falling arrow a single time, and the mace is, you literally just turn it off. You turn off the mace for 30 seconds. That is crazy. That is insane.
With all of these parts combined, the table doesn't just fall down, it fucking explodes and falls into the abyss. I think that settles any claim that the mace is broken in PvP. I think it's more of a situational weapon, not an all-rounder like the sword or axe. You may be wondering, what situation is the mace actually good in PvP? Well, you know the classic anvil kill? The mace is like a wide anvil, but you have to put your own life on the line for it to work. So the closer the enemy gamer is to being a no AI warden, the better. Or if a fight's already going on, you can easily come in as a third party and clean up shop. Since they'll both be distracted, they won't be able to dodge you before you've already deleted half of their health. But maybe when you say that the mace is overpowered, you aren't even talking about PvP. You think it's broken because of... Okay, first of all, the mace has 3 special enchantments: Density, more damage; Breach, bye-bye armor; and Wind Charge, pogo stick mode. You can have either Breach or Density on the mace, but not both. This means that you need to decide what kind of mace you want. A Breach mace is better for fights against armored players, and Density is better for regular mobs. The last section was assuming that you're using a Breach 4 mace, but if we want to talk about PvE, we should talk about a Density mace. The Density enchantment increases the amount of damage you can do by 0.5 damage per block fallen, so with Density 5 that brings it back up to the level of the mace on release, with some extra damage on top of that. But remember, there is more to life than the funny damage numbers. You've got to think about how this actually works, because in reality, the more damage you want to do, the more setup time is required. For example, let's say that you want to insta-kill a warden that actually has AI. How exactly would you do that? Well, you would go down to the deep dark, find a shrieker, spawn a warden, trap it in fences, fly up to the surface, then fall all the way back down to maybe kill it.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do this, to be honest. It's like such a small window. Hey, we did it. That didn't take long at all, and I only had to go into creative mode a couple times.
I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a practical warden killing strategy at all. You could kill a trapped warden just as fast with a max netherite sword in strength 2, even with no armor or food. Or with the Ender Dragon.
You know how that went.
Once again, there's already a strategy that kills the Ender Dragon way faster and cheaper than this. Also, you need wings and rockets, so you probably have already killed the Ender Dragon at that point, so I'm really not sure why this would be a problem. The Wither will wander away, and the only way that you can keep it in place is by adding a roof on top. And either way, a Smite 5 axe with Strength 2 is never going to be beaten by the Mace, even if there was a good way to hit the Wither. All this is to say that killing boss mobs quickly is not the exclusive domain of the Mace. And with all these situations, there's a huge risk being taken by the player. If you miss while falling at Mach 2, it's going to be a close casket, let's just say that. And all these methods need endgame items like Elytra and rockets to be even slightly viable. With Elytra in particular, you actually need to take them off for the Mace to work at all.
The sheep literally survived.
It calculates the damage based on how many blocks you've fallen, but apparently falling with style doesn't count. Okay, so it's not for killing boss mobs. What the hell is it for? Well, I think that this weapon has its best use in being the first hit in a fight. Since the huge delay is only when switching to the Mace, you can avoid that by just using it a single time. In PvE, it's useful for like medium health targets. So for mobs like these, it might be worth it. Also, it is good against bosses as just like a first hit when they spawn. It doesn't take much setup, and it does a good chunk of damage consistently. Other than that though, I don't really see any way that this is useful. I guess we could always look into our friend the Market Gardener and see what it's useful for in TF2's PvE game mode.
Attention, the stunts in this video were performed by a professional dumbass. Please do not try this at home or in man-up mode. Seriously, actual disclaimer, this is just bad. It's fun, but it's bad.
Okay, that makes sense actually. PvE is not really about any specific target, it's about all of them together. The Mace and the Market Gardener are for assassinating a specific target, not for wiping out crowds of enemies like in a PvE scenario. Honestly, I don't think that anything about the Mace desperately needs to be changed right now. I think it's in a pretty good spot like it is. But there are some things that I would change about the game that would complement the Mace nicely. Okay, Mojang, if you're listening, hear me out.
Damage numbers! Please!
Damage numbers, right? That would work so well for a weapon like this. It's really hard to know whether or not you should go in for another Mace hit or try to kill with the sword. Like, I know that there are heart particles that fly out when you hit someone, but that doesn't tell me jack shit, to be honest.
He's so hurt! Like, I don't know what that means. Is that 50?
Just something would be really nice so that we can count our damage and make informed decisions about what we should do next. And I know it breaks the vibe of the game, but please Mojang, just add a toggle for it in accessibility please and thank you. Also, did you know that you can use the trident with Riptide plus a bucket of water to fly up in a netherite insta-kill range? And theoretically, you can eviscerate anyone in your path. Well, anyone who isn't standing underneath a block, who has legs, or a brain. It'd be kind of cool if splash water bottles could let you Riptide for a few seconds. It would make it be able to be moderately viable without the water bucket. Some people have tried to say that the Mace is overpowered in the rain with a Riptide trident, which is so ridiculous I barely even want to cover it. Guys, that's the whole thing. It's situational. It can be good in some situations. It's not always raining. We're not on Venus. Also, this is definitely not gonna ever be added, but Mojang, please, why is the air in this game made out of maple syrup? As soon as you're going in any lateral direction at all, you slow down so much it's crazy. Especially for a weapon like this, which encourages lateral movement, I feel like it should be easier, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. And at this point, it's been 2 months since this weapon was released, and it still has this attribute where it can insta-kill any mob. They also added an advancement for dealing 50 hearts of damage with the Mace, which implies to me that they're planning on the Mace doing a lot of damage basically forever. So I think that the Mace is definitely a lot of fun, and useful in a few situations, but overpowered? Definitely not. I think that for now, the sword or axe is still more useful in most situations. Hey, if you like this video, you should consider subscribing. That would be great to really help me out. I really appreciate that. And if you really like me, there's this little website called Patreon. There's director's commentaries for every video, including this one. Fucking clock again! God damn it! Okay, let's let you hear this shit. Is this really what you want right now? Anyway, like and subscribe. I don't know how this script got this long. It really didn't feel like it was a long script. Holy, it is so hot. It is so hot in here. Holy. Oh, no blanket though. No blanket and nothing. No. Good room is soundproofed enough.
Yeah, this is the bane of the mace is a single tree.
Hold on, you just gotta. Wait. Ow. Wait, hold on. Wait, you're not ready for this.
I'm waiting a while.
You're not ready for this. Wait. There you
Hey,
go.
you did it.